Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Talkin Kop. This is the Sunday night show. I'm Gavin. I'm joined by Keith, by Emmet, and by Matt. Federico Chiesa has been acting the maggot Friday night. Let's be honest. What a way to finish a game of football. It didn't end right there, but what a way to top off a game of football from Chiesa. It was absolutely fantastic. We're going to talk about Chiesa. We're going to talk about all the goals, both for and against us, how the rest of the weekend went, and see where else it goes with regards to the chat. So if you're here, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, leave some comments in there, and we read out as many as we can or put them up on screen. And if you want to join our Patreon, the little QR code is on the screen there or in the description if you want to do that as well, because there's loads of stuff coming from tomorrow onwards. I'm going to start though with before the game. So before the game, we've had some Diogo Jota tributes throughout pre-season and pre-season games and everything else, and Chelsea have donated some of their prize winnings from the Club World Cup, which was a nice touch. But this was always going to be the main one, the first kind of competitive game, really competitive game at Anfield for Liverpool after the passing of Diogo Jota and his brother Andre Silva. Keith, I'll come to you first. We always knew the club were going to do it well. We always knew that. It was going to be very, very emotional. Did it, when you were watching the Keith, did it bring home the fact that these are, again, a group of young men having to deal with a big tragedy in their life? It was good to hear that Diogo Jota's family and that were at the ground. It's the next step for them, I suppose. But I think it showed from the very start, Keith, in the tunnel. I've seen footage of it. I was at the game, so I didn't see it before that. But footage in the tunnel before the game started and everything, and even at the end, it's still very, very emotional for these players, staff, manager, everyone at the club, and still very raw, still very emotional.
Yeah, very much so. And I think sometimes we, as Liverpool fans, I think we have to maybe bite our tongues a little bit. I was getting frustrated with Salah, for example, in the game. I'm like, Salah doesn't look like he's involved at all. Salah this, Salah that. And then you just see the emotion that the fella is going through, and you forget that they're humans, that they're young men. You know what I mean? They've lost a bleeding a friend. Um, I'm sure they all were friends, but even if you weren't the closest friend, you spend a lot of your time with your teammates, and you're in the trenches together. And as a fellow forward, Salah's probably is a close friend of Diogo Jota, and you forget that they're going through that, because it's nearly unfathomable. Do you know what I mean? What they're going through. There's been other cases of people dying. Don't get me wrong, death comes to everybody, but I think I'm guilty. I'm not saying anyone else. I'm not putting words on anyone else, but I'm guilty of forgetting what these fellas are going through, and the turmoil that they're going through. And when I find myself, I was thinking it to myself watching the game, like, I'm getting on these lads, and the fact they're out there putting in the shift, after the Charity Shield and then today, and I'm like, Jesus, Salah looks like he's way off. And then you're like, yeah, there's a reason for that. There's a valid reason for that. And it's, it trumps everything else. And I think it's going to be emotional for the first, I'd say, couple of months. I think some clubs will show respect. Some clubs will, do their own little things, especially when we go to play them. I thought Bournemouth fans behaved impeccably. They had a banner. They sort of got involved. I know Wolves done bits for them as well in their game over the
Wolves were
weekend.
excellent. If a few people in the chat have said that,
Yeah, from
Wolves
the
were
start.
excellent as well. Yeah.
Exactly, but I think there is going to be that, and I think as long as those things are happening, it's going to be very raw for the lads to get out there. I think the most important thing for Liverpool at the moment is just to be getting 3 points on the board. I don't really care about how we're getting the 3 points, because I think the lads just going through these, I'd say, motions or emotions, whatever, must be very hard. And just the fact that we have them out there doing their best, I'm not going to get on Van Dijk's case too much. I'm not going to get on Kanate's case. I'm not going to get on Mo's case. I'm not going to get on Alexis or Szoboszlai or Robbo or any of the lads that are there that were friends with Diogo Jota. I think I just have to keep reminding myself that what these are going through is pretty fucking hard, and they just need to harness that emotion to get the results. And Look, I thought we were good the other night to do that. I thought the crowd played a part. I thought the ending, with Chiesa scoring that goal and with Salah capping it off to continue his run of open day, scoring on the opening day, was nice as well. So yeah, look, I think the first two games for me, and there is big games in here, it's just going to be let's get through them and let's get the lads through as much as we can until they can find a semblance of rhythm and routine that they can get into to go out and do the best for not just us fans, but for themselves and for their friend as well. So yeah, look, emotional. We knew it would be. It's going to be emotional for a while. Let's just hope they can get the wins that they deserve along the way.
Emmet, we talk about we should talk about as a group, what they've lost, what they've had to go through, how they had to support each other, and other people in the club, Jota's family, friends, wherever it might be, and it does fall on them. As footballers and they're footballers, they're high profile, they're known everywhere. You think they're kind of they're like robots, but when it comes down to it, a football club supporting Diogo Jota's wife and kids and parents, extended family, usually when it's a football club doing it, the players are heavily involved. So it's not like they can go off and do their own thing and the club will look after that. But I don't know if even this is the right thing to say, Emma, but I kind of felt like, not that they needed that on Friday night, but I think it's something that they would have been watching and knowing they would have had to come up. This is what they would have come up against on Friday night, and it's the next step for them. I'm not saying it all ends now, but it's a big, big step for them in their dealing with this situation. Because there's going to be, the first Champions League night without them. There's going to be the first league game. There's going to be the first league trip away. Who use your rooms with them. This sort of thing. So, it was the next step in their kind of, I don't know what way to put it, but it was important for them. And again, like Keith said, you kind of watch these. I think we should watch these games of football probably for the next little while, and a little pinch of salt with them, because you have to look at, there's loads more going on here than 11 lads on the football pitch.
Yeah, and I would probably have been guilty of not forgetting Diogo Jota, but kind of like you get kind of caught up in the whole football is back, and you kind of it's in the back of your mind. And I think the actual result and the way they went about the result on Friday showed resilience, and that's what they're going to need a hell of a lot of when it comes to dealing with the loss of Diogo Jota. I was a little bit guilty of forgetting about it until I saw Salah, and I was like, oh my God, like you kind of think to yourself, they're coping well, they seem to be coping well, and then you see how it affects Salah. And I am an absolute sucker. If I see someone crying, especially when the lip goes, and his lip went, that kind of nearly pushes me over the edge. And I think I was drinking gin at that stage as well. So that's an emotional drink. No, I think I thought you were handling
known for its emotion.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
is it?
Very emotional drink. Yeah. Is that not a well-known thing? No.
I'm not too sure, but like, would you be
not emotional as in teary, but like lovey-dovey kind of? Some people cry on it. Yeah. Anyway,
what you just ball your eyes out on it?
Come here, I do that most days. My emotions are all over the shop and misspent childhood. But anyway,
an independent woman, Emmet.
Strong independent woman. Strong. Beyonce there, relax.
But yeah, I was probably guilty of it. I'm thinking that maybe they seem to be coping well with it, and clearly, it's going to take a long, long time. I was probably guilty of having a bit of a moan. We're going to grab points here and there, but Keith's right in the grand scheme of things. Again, when you see Salah, it kind of hits home. You kind of think, shit, like, do you know what I mean? There's a lot bigger things going on. But I loved, I have to say, Sky's few bits beforehand I thought was really good, with ex-players and stuff like that as well. The banner, I think, in the Kop, wasn't it in Spanish? It translated to, it was like directly to his wife, I think, was it?
There was one on the bottom of the Kop that was basically named his wife and his kids.
Yeah.
I don't think it wasn't in Spanish.
Alone. Wasn't that in Spanish?
No. It was a big long white banner, and it had all their names, and it says Anfield will always be our
Will
home.
always be our home.
You'll never walk alone. That was probably the gin talking there.
I was drinking Coors at that stage.
Jesus, right. Okay.
But yeah, no, it was a lovely touch, and I have to say as well, the minute silence is like there are a few people going, Scousers like milking it and all this kind of stuff. This is not Liverpool that are asking. It's the Premier League that will dictate whether clubs do the minute silence. Yeah. And I think it's probably only right. They're not going to do it next week. Do you know what I mean? It's the first match day. The Premier League is back for the first match day of a season whilst Diogo Jota passed away during the summer. That's what it'll be done. It's not going to be done week in, week out.
No, we've done it all Premier League games across the weekend.
But a lot of them that you will have seen, you have to say that the minute silence was impeccably observed, and banners as well. You see, like you're seeing Portsmouth fans sitting in the stadium with "You'll Never Walk Alone" 20 on the back of his jersey. Like, do you know what I mean? It's even bigger than the Premier League. It's the football family, and it's great to see all the kind of memorials to him, not just on Liverpool jersey. So it's impacted a lot of people, but I just think it's nice to see, even down into the Championship. So,
Matt has touched on a few bits there, and more so, like, you know, we always knew Liverpool would do things right. We knew Liverpool fans would do things right. You know, Bournemouth before the game had sent a message out as a football club to say this is what we're going to do, and they were impeccable as well. But I think I've watched a couple of games over the weekend, not like me, but I've watched a couple of games over the weekend, and I have to say, it's been impeccably observed across the Premier League, and we've one more game to go, Leeds and Everton tomorrow. And you know, it's so nice to see. You know, people can put things aside, and you know, there's been no dickheads, you know, Matt, because you'll always find one or two, but it's been a really nice thing to see from all the clubs and everyone that has hosted Premier League games this weekend.
Yeah, I've watched every game so far this weekend, and I can say that every single ground did the moment of silence, and every single ground was fantastic with it. I think maybe there was a few noises in Manchester against Arsenal.
Sorry to interrupt you. My son has done the worst attempt at sneaking across the room.
I like it.
The entire life. Go on, Matt. Sorry.
Wendy done her best. Cal's not so much.
No, Calvo just fucking made a show of himself. Go on. Sorry,
I don't know
Matt.
what you're talking. I didn't see anything, so I think he did great. Yeah, every ground had the moment silence before their respective matches started. It was well done at every single ground, and I think that speaks to the enormity of the loss for football as a sport and as people that enjoy the sport. It doesn't, like, all the people say all the nice things about, you put your club colors away when something like this happens, but this was a moment where people actually put their money where their mouth is, poor metaphor perhaps, but and held that moment silence. The Wolves crowd, though, like the tifo before the game and all that, was excellent, singing his song on 20 minutes, but from about 5 minutes to go in that match, they sang their Diogo Jota song, which I was unfamiliar with, and it rang around Molineux for 20 minutes afterwards. So yeah, it was excellent to see. And poor Mo, as soon as the game finished, I turned the TV off and went and started to get ready for our post-match show. You know, we go live in like 15 minutes, so you got to get yourself ready to go on YouTube. So I missed it, and having gone back and watched it now, like, I mean, between that and his tweet calling out FIFA or UEFA, whoever it was, about the death of the Palestinian Pele, like, Mo Salah in the last week has shown so much humanity when he's so vaunted by so many of us that if you didn't love him to absolute bits before, you kind of have to now.
Exactly. Matt, I'll stay with you. We on this show, we don't go through every goal, and we might go through a couple of them, but Liverpool started lively, and it's funny, you've a couple of years I mentioned there with regards to Salah, and was he in the game, was on the thing. I don't think it was any fault of Salah's at all. You know, I was sitting on the ground right beside Salah for the first half, and I couldn't get over how much.
That's where he was.
I was going to say.
Sitting down beside me going, what's the story? But the thing was, I couldn't, like, just an overview of you know, probably the first half in particular. I thought the amount we're trying way too hard to get the ball to Florian Wirtz. We're trying way too hard to do it. There's a couple of times where Kanate intercepts, actually breaks past one of their midfielders, and you're like, just give it to Salah. We're on the move now. This will free up Frimpong. And he's trying to play a ball to Szoboszlai, who's trying to give it to Wirtz. And we tried way too hard. I don't know if you've seen that in the game, because it looked a bit disjointed at times to me from Liverpool. And it was nearly like Bournemouth copped onto him and went, listen, don't worry about it. They're going to try to get into this fella and we'll flood him. Did you think that? Or was I just... Maybe it was because he was right beside me. I was like, he's not getting much of the ball here. There's loads of opportunities to get the ball. And I don't think they're giving it to him.
Yeah, I mean, Salah has a chance. I think about 4 minutes in, he cuts in, has a curling left-footed effort that's tipped over the bar. And then he kind of disappeared out of the game for 90 minutes before he popped back up again, is what it felt like. I wouldn't say that it looked like they were trying to give the ball to Wirtz too much, just because I'm so excited to see him on the ball. But the way he's constantly moving, and the midfielders are all just kind of rotating around in an effort to get him the ball, it feels deliberate in the sense of this is how our system's playing now, of like trying to force yourself to play in the way that you've been practicing as a way to break the old habits of how they were playing last season when there wasn't a player like Florian Wirtz there. So I think that's a legitimate thing. We were certainly trying to play the ball through the middle a lot more than I would have liked, because Gakpo, I thought, was lively through the whole game, and you just wanted to see him take his man on and go, because their fullbacks are good, but they're not great by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, and the chance that comes after 4 minutes for me is where Liverpool win it, they get it to Salah, Frimpong goes running, he uses him as a decoy, comes inside. It's quite a good save. But that just seemed to stop. Keith, I understand that, this Florian Wirtz is the biggest sign of the summer. Maybe there's another big one coming, I don't know. But it depends what way you rate signings this summer. But people around me in the crowd were like, where's Wirtz? And I was like, he's doing absolutely fine. He's winning plenty of ball, he's getting it, he's moving it. But it just seemed to be, it had to get to him before we went and done anything else. But another player to touch on, and we might talk about a little bit more about Wirtz later on, but another player to touch on in that first half is Hugo Ekitike. Salah is quiet, and I have my reasons for thinking that. Wirtz is floating about, but Ekitike genuinely looks like he's played in this league for 2 or 3 years. It was my first time seeing him in the flesh, and he's strong. He's afraid of nobody. He's looking at defenders and going, yeah, I'll have a go off this. He's trying to win headers. His touch and his layoff was really good. Movement is great. He was linking well with Gakpo. He's settled really quickly, Keith. Really quickly.
Yeah, he's been excellent, Gav. I think Liverpool, when we've got 4 new signings in the team at the moment, it will take time for them to settle. I think we were all hoping to see Florian Wirtz hitting the ground running like Fernando Torres maybe done, or other big signings in the past where they won and they're, stealing all the headlines. What we're seeing is a tidy player. With Frimpong, we're seeing a player that's, so fast. His pace is unreal. We knew that, but we're seeing that he gets up, but he's quick to get back. Kerke's taking a little bit of time to settle in. But Ekitike's been the standout, and he looks very good. He, as you say, his touch, little flicks and little layoffs, and he's always looking to get in, lay the ball off and get into good positions. I think he's been brilliant. I think he's taken his 2 goals very well that he scored for us in both games. It's a sign of a player that's, he's not afraid to hit from distance. He's not afraid to get into the box. Very good finish. I heard you on another pod saying it, that he gets into the box and, he might have been lucky to get in there with a little ricochet or whatever, but he's in there and he's composed enough to just open himself up and slot it into the far corner and send the keeper the wrong way. I thought it was a very good goal. But what I'm seeing with the new players is that they're not struggling, but Ekitike and Wirtz and Frimpong, it's taken, maybe the pace is shocking to them a little bit. They're probably going to take a few games to get up to the pace and the sort of full throttle nature the Premier League tries to sell itself as. But I think it's good signs from them early. I think all of them, even Kerkez is coming in for a little bit of stick. I think he will get better. I think he will improve. I think it was one of them when you play your old team and you're not quite settled yet and you look a bit all over the shop. I thought he was a bit rash with a few tackles and things like that, but I think he will come good. But so far it's been Ekatike who's been the standout. Wirtz certainly in patches has looked like what we were hoping. But I think we all thought we'd get this new Liverpool. We'd be able to bring in 5, 6, 7 new players and we won't miss a beat. That won't be the case, but so far we've won our first game of the season and we've got a striker who has scored in the Charity Shield and this first game of the season. Who was the last one who done that? Darwin Núñez. So we have to hold fire and hope that it's not just an initial flash in the pan. And I don't think it will be because Núñez just looked overly emotional and overly hyped when he got his first home game against, was it Fulham or Palace? Which one when he headbutted Bladen?
First game is away to Fulham. He scores an assist.
Away to Fulham, and then he gets sent off against
Palace. Yeah.
So I don't. I'm being flippant when I'm comparing the two because Ekatike looks like he has a good mentality in that Darwin was just overly emotional. As it turned out, he was very emotional on edge. Whereas Ekatike looks different. He looks more composed and a bit more laid back, a bit sanguine maybe in his play. And that bodes well. It'll be interesting to see because we do need another striker up there. No doubt about it. We're going to take Hugo Ekatike off after an hour in the first few games. It'd be lovely to have another forward to put on, but so far he's been the player that's caught the eye the most out of the new signings. But I've no doubt that they all will come good. That we're seeing little small flashes in all of them, and hopefully we'll see more as the weeks go on.
I really thought Ekatike was excellent. On Wirtz, when I was watching him, I didn't think to myself he's having a poor game. Like he showed for the ball so many times.
He's always thinking forward, isn't he? And moves fast.
And to be fair to him, he gets it and he
covered the most distance as well. Of all
he gets it and he moves it. He gets it and he moves it. And I think we might have fallen into a trap of every time Wirtz gets this 25 yards from goal, he's going to hit this piercing pass, or he's going to pull a defence apart with one pass every single time he gets it. Whereas he was moving it cleverly. I just thought we were trying to give it to him when he didn't need to give it to him. I'd rather just get it directly to Salah and then for him to look to go and get it from Salah and work from there. Whereas we're trying to give it to Wirtz to try to go back out, and it wasn't working. But I don't think he had a bad game. I think he was after 65. He might come off a little bit after that. He looked like I'm fucked here. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm running and running and running, and he was. He never stopped moving, and he actually surprised me how physical he is. The amount of times he gets his body in the way and wins the ball for a slight enough fella. I was really impressed with how physical he was and how, you think he's second best and he just manoeuvres his body really well to win a ball back. So, but I think, like you all said there, when they begin to get on this wavelength and we know that ball's going here and now we're going to move, it'll come. And I was a little bit annoyed at where we were trying to constantly go at him rather than saying, listen, you find the space and Salah will find you and then you can do your business from there. Emmet. Now, spoiler alert, me and Matt are going to do a reaction extra show after this, and it'll be released on our Patreon in the morning where we'll look through the highlights. But one of them I did want to talk about, and I'm not going to say too much, and I'll give my own opinion later on a different show. But Anthony Taylor, right?
Shy bag.
I thought he was absolutely abysmal for both sides. Fucking abysmal. It was the amount of times players from both sides ran with the ball, somebody fouled them, he tried to give an advantage, they get the ball taken off immediately, he just went, yeah, that's grand, no problem, walk away. It was like, I've made the decision to give you the advantage and I don't actually care what's happening after that. And then they compound it all with the handball. Talk to me about the handball, because we don't usually do incident by incident in this, but this was mind-blowing to me.
It's like they literally watched the 3-second clip and saw that it didn't hit his arm or it came off his leg and hit his arm, and that's it, and turned off the VAR machine. Like he literally tried to bounce the ball out of Ekatike, and he hits it. At first I was like, oh, maybe he didn't hit it. He did hit it. It changes direction.
Changed the direction, yeah.
And it's like, now, I'm far be it from me to stick up for Anthony Taylor, but if he's not seen it, he can only go by what he's hearing in his ear. Do you know what I mean?
Who was on?
So-
Who was on VAR? Who was the VAR for it?
Michael Oliver.
No.
Oh,
Michael Oliver.
all the hits.
But yeah, for me, that's a red card. It's like if he was fouled there, it's a red card. He's true on goal. It's a goal scoring opportunity. He flicks his hand out. He hits it with his fingertips. It changes direction completely, and then they give a free kick to Bournemouth. What was that for?
Well, the
Was it
the
because
reason behind it
Liverpool
is
handled
that,
the ball
that
then, was it?
Taylor
Gakpo.
Taylor thinks he doesn't handle the ball, right? And then he turns and kicks it, and Gakpo tries to catch the ball
Yeah,
because Gakpo thinks
Okay,
he's going to
that's what it
give
was for.
a free or whatever, and then it drops at Gakpo, and Gakpo looks as if to go, "There's no what's going on here?" And then he goes to play, and then they were like, "No, it's a free to Bournemouth. You've just handled the ball." And they're all
I
like,
get the one. I get the one off his thigh and up onto his arm.
"Yeah,
I get that. That's the rule. We all know it's the rule. It's the oh shit and trying to flick the ball away. Like what? Like what was it? I think it was about 10 minutes in. Was it 10, 15 minutes in?
Nearly
The
enough.
first
Yeah.
game of the
14
season.
minutes."
14 minutes in, and they've already fucked us.
Yeah,
Look,
and you know,
we get the 3 points. That's the big thing. But like Jesus Christ, like it's such a simple thing to see. Like
But it's a
I think they're
blatant.
trying to make. I think they're trying to make the decisions too quickly. I think Howard Webb was saying we want to get the game moving quicker. We don't want to be held up by VAR. But no, it's get the decisions right, not get them done quickly. And that was the first one of the season for us.
it's
There'll be more.
I can tell you in the ground, right? Not many people reacted to the ball bouncing up and hitting him. It was when he reached out.
It was ready. Yeah.
When he reached out, everyone, like you can see it where we were sitting. The centre back had their back to us, right? So, and we're looking at it but we think Salah's trying to play Ekitike through. That's what he's trying to do, and we can't see the ball bouncing up and hitting the arm. It's when he reaches out and takes a swipe at it, then everyone goes bananas, and that's why the crowd couldn't understand what is going on here. Because
you could see it on his face, the
Yeah.
defender's face.
Yeah.
You could see it was like, oh
Yeah.
fuck.
it was crazy. Matt, I'm not going to let you talk about that, if that's okay, because we're doing 1 or 2 shows on the reaction to this game, plus our Good Process show, which is all about referees' decisions from the weekend, and that's going to show up. So I'm not going to let you talk about it. I'm going to jump into the second half, and I'm going to talk about Cody Gakpo. Who I thought, let me put it on record, I thought he'd be outstanding in the game, both going forward and defensively. I thought he was so good defensively at times, walking back, winning ball, holding on to it, winning free kicks. It's a really good goal from Matt, isn't it? It's his trademark now, where he just skips along there and then just goes, right, I'm putting it in here. But he's doing it more in the centre of the box now. He used to be the head corner of the box, but it was a really good finish.
Yeah, it's a great finish. Like, doesn't really lash it in. Like, almost places the ball. Takes that extra touch because the first defender comes rushing out, does it again for the second defender. But I pointed it out on our post-match show. I love the work that Ekitike does for that goal. He points to the space. He gets the ball. He pins the defender.
Good ball by Kerkez as well. It was a
2
good ball by
defenders
Kerkez.
he pinned.
Yeah, and he holds the defenders off and then just almost puts his foot on the ball and rolls it into Gakpo's path. And he's altered the shape of the defense, and it opens up that gap for Gakpo to run into. Like, those are some of the things that you saw in the highlight clips when we were mooted with signing him, and to see them come off in the Premier League at the speed that it's going at with the defenders that you're playing against is very good news for us. Like, it was an excellent piece of center forward play. And then Cody Gakpo, he probably does it a bit too much cutting in on that right foot. But he's a smart enough footballer that, eventually he's either going to, fake coming in and take his man down to the byline, or look for Kerkez on that overlapping run going out the other way sort of thing. But, it's very positive signs to see, because Cody Gakpo is our starting left winger. Unless something completely out of the blue happens in this transfer window, which you shouldn't write off happening. But the work that he was doing back defensively in the Charity Shield game to help out Kerkez against Munoz on that on our left side. He didn't have to do as much of it, but he's the type of player that is willing to put in those hard yards defensively, and he's actually half decent at it as well too. So his size helps out a little bit on that left-hand side where we can be a bit undersized.
Keith, moving on a little bit. It's 2-0 to Liverpool, and it's genuinely turned into a nothing game. It's genuinely turned into a nothing game where it felt like two teams were going through the motions then. Liverpool were 2 up on whatever it was, before 50 minutes anyway. Liverpool were 2-0 up. This game was going along, and Bournemouth were having a little go, but they weren't really getting any chance at all. Liverpool were a bit wasteful, I thought, going forward with some of the chances they had. Wirtz has one where he hits a first time where I thought you could have taken a touch there and set yourself, but it's going along, and it's kind of one of those where we might get a third, or we might just settle on 2, and that's how it felt, even when with Bournemouth maybe bringing on subs. And then Slot makes 2, and I couldn't for the life of me understand him, Keith. He takes off Frimpong, who looked absolutely fine, by the way. Kerkez I could understand. Kerkez, for me, had a tough night because he was up against their best player, their most physical player. He's the best in the air. He's the best with his feet. He's the quickest. He's all their threat. Yeah, and they were every long ball was going at him, and he was trying to win headers, and he was trying to stay in shape, and he gets turned once, and then he panics, and he sprints across and gets that yellow card. I think if he hadn't got turned a couple of minutes earlier, he might have got there, or he might have just stood up. He had a toughish night, but fullbacks can at times. And I could understand the Robertson one coming on from, but to bring on Endo at right back, when their threat, any threat he had was kind of out wide. I couldn't get my head around the Keith. I really couldn't. And I think, listen, we love Arne Slot. He's been absolutely amazing. But, Centurion there says Frimpong felt his hamstring. Okay. But I couldn't understand them bringing Endo on there. And I've heard people saying, well, Gomez couldn't do half an hour. But one thing he's not.
There.
One thing he's
I
not.
would have put Szoboszlai there.
Yeah, I would have stuck Szoboszlai in there and said, look, just defend that, will you? And you can be our kind of quarterbacky kind of fellow when we get it. I thought it was a poor move from him, and it's okay to say that.
Exactly. I mean, Jurgen used to do it all the time, poor subs, and then he do great subs. And Slot has proven that he can manage the substitutions fairly well over his time at Liverpool. But that was a strange one. And look, I'm a huge Wataru Endo fan, and I love seeing him coming on under any circumstances. So I'm not too upset to see him coming in there. But when I seen the subs happening, I'm like, right, the 2 fullbacks are coming off, Robbo's coming on, Endo's coming on. And I genuinely thought Szoboszlai was going to drop back in there for the running. Just for the hard running that he'll do. Szoboszlai will slot in there. And because they've done it in pre-season as well. And I thought that's what we'll do. We'll put Endo into the middle. We'll just shut up in the middle, and we'll have Szoboszlai coming from deep, but then being able to, use his engine to go up and down. And when Endo went in there, it just didn't make any sense because our centre-backs weren't having a good game, and we were inviting pressure and we were drawing pressure onto us. And to bring in Endo in there, Endo has his qualities. I think he's okay at centre back, for example, but right back's a different kettle of fish. And I think, putting him in there just wasn't the right thing. And look, I get Joe Gomez didn't have it in his legs. That's fair enough. But I would have done others ahead of, as Emmet said as well, Jones was an option that you could have put in there who has done it as well before. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. I'm sure he thought we would just be more, maybe Endo would give you a little bit more, sure, up the defence, he's good in the air, things like that. But it didn't work.
If you're under pressure, because he can stand in a position and he can defend the space. But the thing was, when he brings them on, Liverpool have more of the ball, we're open. And in fairness, both our goals are from fucking Szoboszlai trying to flick, and I don't know what he's doing. And Szoboszlai falls over, and Kanate decides he doesn't want to tackle anyone, right? But just the changes. When I seen Endo coming on, I thought immediately McAllister's going off, because McAllister, in the 10 minutes previous to him going off, started where he was like literally up on the halfway line, up against their attacking midfield, and he was like, listen, I'm up behind him, and then you could see him starting to drop. And that midfielder never moved, but he kept getting more of the ball because McAllister felt he had to drop. He hadn't got it in him to keep going up and back and up and back. So when Endo's coming on, I'm thinking he's going to take McAllister off here and he's going to put Endo in there, and we're just going to stay as we are. But when I seen him coming on, I said Frimpong, and I was like, Frimpong, okay, what way are we doing this? And like you, I thought Szoboszlai go in there, he'd put Endo in beside McAllister to give us a bit of solidity there, but it just didn't work.
No, but he realised it and he fixed it. You know, and well, we can say it was a poor substitution, and it was a poor substitution, and we've seen it in the years. I remember Milner came on, had a horrendous substitute cameo appearance a few years ago in one of the games. These things happen, but he rectified it, and we came out and won the game. But it was a strange decision. Again, I can try and think of why he done it, but ultimately, I'm clutching at straws. It was the wrong thing to do. We got away with it, like I said, because he fixed it up and Gomez came in. Which, in fairness, when Gomez was coming on, I thought Canate was coming off because he got one in the balls, I think, and he looked like he was a bit bleeding. He couldn't shake it off at all. So I thought it was going to be Gomez coming in as centre back, and he put him at right back, and I'm like, why the fuck didn't he just do that in the first place? And then it came out that maybe Gomez didn't have 30 minutes.
Yeah, I think he might have had 20.
Canate played like he got a kick in the balls before the game.
But to be, so JJPK says, Gav, are we open down the middle as it looks on TV? Often watching live is different to TV. We appear very open down the middle in recent games. We didn't look open at all until we committed too many forward. And Szoboszlai tries this flick, and what happens is when he tries it, everyone's over on that right hand side, right, and they're all ahead of him. So when he flicks it and it goes, I think you have to give massive credit to Bournemouth for their first goal, because when the guy gets it, he hits a brilliant ball in behind Canate, and it's a great ball across the box. It takes out Van Dijk and Robertson. It's just a good goal. And people are having a go about Canate for the first goal. I was like, where do you want him to be? He's literally in position. A fella plays a really good ball around the corner. Canate chases him. Your man gets it across the goal, and it's a goal. The second one, don't get me wrong, Virgil is cutting off, I think Evan Nielsen's still on the pitch at the time. He's cutting that off, and he's basically saying, listen, you just go and deal with him, and I'll make sure he doesn't get the ball to this other fella. And Canate doesn't know where he's going. He's very poor for that. But there was a couple of bits in the first half, maybe go Canate a bit slow, but there was some good really stuff in the first half as well, where Canate actually gets the ball and goes past a couple of players and opens things up for Liverpool. I thought it was a bit harsh on him. Bar the second goal, I think it was a bit harsh on him, because that can happen in games where, oh geez, your man nearly nipped in there. It happens all the time. But we only looked open when we gave it away stupidly. Do you know what I mean? Like
too many getting ahead of the ball.
Yeah, but there was times in the first half where the ball might have went in the box, a flick didn't work, or it went, and they'd play it out, and we'd loads of players. We're fine. But when you're in that position and you know that's that many ahead of the ball, you need to keep it and move it. And Szoboszlai doesn't, and he falls over. At
2-0 up, we shouldn't really be committing that many forward.
Yeah, well, that's so.
You know, you're not chasing a goal there. I think Kirk.
Well, Centurion says it. He says, "Sorry for spamming, but I absolutely livid at how for playing so aggressively at 2-0. Genuinely, it was a nothing game. I was sitting in Anfield going, there's 25 here left, and this will be, it'll possibly be 3.
We have to manage it. We have to manage it better going forward, because we were the same against Palace as well.
But Kirk had committed himself too far forward as well when Szoboszlai gets rid of it. That's why he couldn't get back.
Oh, easy, Alan Shearer. Easy.
Yeah.
No, but he did. Like we've said on this, we said last Sunday.
Kirk isn't on the pitch.
We won't
Kirk
see.
isn't on the pitch when they score.
So there's one where he's committed himself. It must be a chance then, because there's one where
there's a chance early in the game. There's a chance early in the game where they get it out left and they swing it across, and Semenyo has a chance at the back post, and Kirk has.
That's obviously the one then.
Opposition.
But he's committed himself.
Yeah, Alan Shearer has had a go at Kirk for being poor for Bournemouth's 2 goals, with the first one in particular, and Kirk wasn't on the pitch. So that's what tells you all you need to know about Alan Shearer. So when he's telling you about Isaac and everything
Alan Shearer and Emmet Kavanagh.
Yeah, both of them. They're all clearly on the gin. Clearly on the gin and over emotion. But the thing is, if Alan Shearer's a bellend, like, let's be honest about it. He's on talking about Isaac now, and he's like, he shouldn't be doing this. Well, go back and watch him over Trent Alexander-Arnold, and he has completely the opposite opinion. Liverpool made their own. They made their own trouble for themselves. Bournemouth were in trouble. Semenyo was good, don't get me wrong, he was threatening, but there was never a time where I thought this fella is going to pull us apart. Every time he gets it, I'm fucking nervous. There wasn't. Liverpool covering things really well. The main take from this game for me was we needed to look after the ball a bit more and try not to be we're trying to be too expansive at times with our use of the ball, trying to get into the killer areas too quickly. Whereas look at the second goal. We play it. We keep playing, and then bang, there's an opening, and then we move. And we just tried a little bit to be going from, A to C rather than fucking A to B. Do you know what I mean? It was a bit too much. But
we've been guilty of that in the past. We've spoken on here saying that we need to look after the ball better. And I just think if we're gonna be committing so many balls forward, or so many bodies forward, we need to be making sure that we're not doing these fucking flicks. He did a couple last week as well in the Community Shield. Like, for somebody that runs around the pitch so much, and don't get me wrong, I love Substitution. He's gonna be tired when you're busting a gut around the pitch. Don't be doing these things. Just do the easy thing. That's what's so good about Ekitike versus Nunes. Ekitike just plays it simple. Just does the simple thing. Back heels and all that flicking shite is just, it causes the goal. Like, that gets them. That's their tails up. Then, do you know what I mean? So just look after the ball a little bit more.
Owen says, fair play to Semenyo for carrying on after the first half incident. Have we spoken with her?
No.
So for anyone that's living on the mill, the first half incident was a person, Liverpool fan, in the main stand, as Semenyo, I think, went to take a long throw, and I think it's safe to say racially abused him. I think that's what they've come out with, but they've abused him verbally in some way, right? I'm going to go that far because I don't know if it's 100% come out that it's racial, but I'm not. That's not me trying to defend.
The commentary said racial, and they can hear what the referee is saying. So
okay, so that's apparently what it was. Look, you knew something was going on the ground because a couple of stewards went right down and stood right beside this person. You could see a lot of people looking down. A guy ran out from the tunnel then and met some Liverpool staff. Taylor was called over, spoke to the captains and everything else. The only thing was, in the ground, if you hadn't spotted this, you'd been wondering, is there something going on? Like, is there a bleeding bomb scare? Or what's going on? And then it just played on. And this, at half time, just before the teams came out, 3 police officers came down, stood beside the guy for a minute or two, and then the guy was in a wheelchair, and he made his own way out. He wasn't, taken away. He made his own way down the main stand and out the Kop. And listen,
he was escorted, wasn't he?
He was escorted by them. What I mean is, they didn't forcibly take the wheelchair and push him out of the ground. Zupdogs has thought it was a drinks break. We actually thought that at the time as well, because we were looking at the clock. It was on about half an hour when it happened, or just after.
You can see Semenyo telling. There's a video going around. You can see Semenyo saying it to Van Dijk. So I think Van Dijk may have said something.
Okay,
Taylor.
Right. Yeah, because we could see 2 stewards going down, and like when the stewards went really up, and next of all they were there, and the person was taken out, and I know they're dealing with it, but if the person has done what's being alleged, they shouldn't be allowed back into Anfield. Full stop. End of story.
Ban for life.
Yeah, I don't think we have. We need to talk about that anymore. They don't deserve the oxygen that we could give them, but they should be banned for life. End of story. No qualms about it.
And their circumstances doesn't change that either. Just because it's someone in a wheelchair doesn't alter the fact that they're not an absolute shy bag that's, bringing shame to the club. Because I know we don't want to talk about it. I want to talk a little bit about it, because you end up having to defend it. Do you know what I mean? And you don't defend it.
But there's no defending.
No defending it. But what I mean is, like, it becomes Liverpool fans racist, and you're like, what the fuck are you on about? One dope. One fucking idiot says something, and they're in every ground, they're in every stadium. You hear it all the time, and he got called out on it, and you're right, fuck him out and never let him in again. Simple as.
And I think
he's wearing a jersey with "No to Racism" patch on the sleeve.
Yeah,
as well.
The irony of it.
Yeah, so look, I'm sure the club they were very quick to come out and give a statement. Semenyo was very quick to come out after the game and say thanking Bournemouth, thanking Liverpool, the officials, the players on the pitch, everything else, which is absolutely
fans
fine.
As
well. Everybody. He was absolutely fine with everybody. He literally made it very clear that one person tried to ruin it for everyone. But listen, there's no excuse for that, and I would be fairly confident to be dealt with very, very harshly. As I said, Liverpool make their own problems. It goes to 2-2, and we spoke at the start of this about Liverpool players being emotional, Liverpool players being possibly drained from the summer, and everything that's come with it. But enter Chiesa. And Carragher, apparently on Sky, someone's put it in there, said,
What a shy hawk.
when he comes on, he says, I don't know why they're doing this. This makes no sense. And he came on, man, and he was very much on the periphery. He was up front. I think he was more there to try, just run around, be an option, wherever it might be. And Liverpool, as soon as they can see it, Liverpool go back on the front foot. The crowd get behind them massively. The crowd get behind them, go, come on, we can do this. And I have to be honest with you, I've been at Anfield countless amount of times. Great goals. I've been at 7-0 against Manchester United. But honestly, that one is right up there when that went in the net, because the roof nearly come off the place.
Yeah, fairy tale kind of ending to a game. If you're going to throw away a 2-goal lead, that's how you want it to come back. I'll let the other two fellows wax lyrical about Federico Chiesa and how good his song and finishes and whatnot, because I forgot to mention on our post-match show where we talk lots about Chiesa, the touch from Szoboszlai to pull that ball down out of the air, and he just kills it and lays it on a plate for Salah. Brilliantly done. And then, the smile on Chiesa's face is just, it's like a little kid, like all your Christmases come at once sort of thing. And
I love the reaction of the other players, to be fair, when I seen it back. Robertson, Van Dijk, Salah, I loved all their reactions. It was like, oh, he's done it. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, and then kudos to you and everybody else that was in the ground, because the atmosphere for the last 10 minutes of that game was just amazing. Like, the international commentators are like, it's a celebration built off of a massive sense of relief. And it's like, no, it's because the song is amazing. It's because they were going to, that song was getting sung regardless. The fact that he scores the winning goal, just, yeah, perfect.
It was phenomenal. And Keith, I suppose, there's been a lot said about Chiesa. He comes in, he doesn't get, I think it might be 20 minutes of Premier League football last season. He gets a goal in the FA Cup, doesn't he, against was it Plymouth? Accrington? Yeah, no, not Plymouth. No one done anything that day. Accrington Stanley. He runs around, but he gets the odd minute here at the end of the season, and people are like, he'll definitely go. And then the rumour going around this week is no, he's actually going to stay. I thought it was just brilliant for him. Just on a personal level, I just thought it was excellent for him, Keith.
I think you'll find last week on the show I said I'd keep him as one of our striker options.
Which is a massive thing, because you sell everybody.
Yeah, I got ridiculed by all these. Not Mackie wasn't on, probably in private. Matt ridiculed me as well. So I feel that goes for me.
Okay.
I feel that's one for me, and me alone to celebrate and own. Now look, I think Chiesa has been treated very unfairly by Slot, in the sense that whenever he has a cameo, the League Cup final being one, I thought
he scores in that, but
excellent. Yeah, but I thought he came on and played. He started running, he was chasing down. He's doing bits in games. He's not putting it together. He's not getting a full run 90 to do it, or he's not getting the cameos. I felt at the time he wasn't getting the cameos to do it. But I think he's an excellent player if we can get him involved. And the thing about him, for all the reports that he's leaving, doesn't seem to be coming from him. He loves it. I think he'd happily stay there. He's at that moving that other Italian lad in with him now, so he probably boxed himself off. He's having a bit of a training himself to the gates.
Little Airbnb extra going on here. But apparently,
it was great for him.
I'm saying that because during the week it was widely reported that the club have informed himself and the agent that he wants him to stay off the back of Nunez and Diaz leaving.
But that's the thing, Gav, as you were saying, like, you've got a big churn of that front line. And as we were saying, if you look at it and you've got Nunez leaving, Diaz leaving, you've got Jota passing away, and that's taken a lot out of what was already there. To lose him, we don't look like we're going to buy 2 more forwards. Do you know what I mean? It looks like we're going to buy 1 more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. So I think to get rid of him would be madness. I think just use him, and I'm not saying start him, but use him sparingly. Get him involved, because he's fast, he's direct, he works hard. He doesn't always come off, but he always tries to fucking go back and win the ball. I think there's a player in there that can do a job for us and doesn't have to be starting every game. will be happy to come in and get 20 minutes here and there, half an hour, get a start every now and again. Doesn't have to be Mo Salah's understudy either. He can play from the left, he can play from the centre, he can play across the three positions. Like, I just think he's a player that we just haven't used enough. Now, you don't know what goes on in training. We see the videos, we see him smiling and all that, and he could be an absolute dickhead, and he might be a brutal trainer and all this sort of stuff. And Slot's head might be absolutely cabbaged with him. But whenever he comes in, I think he tries to impact on the games positively. And that's all I can ask. Red Steve, is this the same Pete that sold peak Sadio? Yes, it is, by the way. Yeah, it sold peak everybody. But I'm keeping Federico because he's the best song.
The song is...
We can't lose them two songs.
Yeah, the song is off the charts. Hotline says Salah, Isaac, Ekatike, Gakpo, Chiesa, and plenty of others who can play up top as well. Rio Ingamoa, I think, is going to get minutes this season. People think he's not. I think he 100% is. But I don't mind, if you have Chiesa as your fifth option. It's... I don't know.
He has to play him though. He can't.
Yeah, I know, but he has to. But he's making plenty of changes up front. Like Liverpool are screaming out for a centre forward. I love Ekatike, but they're screaming out for a centre forward because if Ekatike is going to run that much in games, he's not going to. Like he said, he was cramping up after 60. And look, maybe that's because of a kind of broken up pre-season. But honestly, the amount of running that our centre forward has to do and everything else, I think. Even the Charity Shield and this, you're looking going, who's he going to put up there? And it ends up being Chiesa. I'd love Chiesa to be that kind of utility man where you go, listen, you wouldn't do 20 minutes on the left there for me, would you? Or you wouldn't do 20 minutes on the right there for me, or up front, or whatever it might be. My only thing is that I still think it's a risk. I still think overall, I think it's a risk to have him. I'd probably like somebody else. If you're only signing
risk in what way?
In the fact that I think he looks... I don't think he looks up to the pace of English football. I don't think he's physically.
He doesn't seem to be getting the run. That's the thing.
Yeah, I know, but
that's why I said he needs to play.
But even in that game the other night, he scores and it's fucking brilliant, lads. But genuinely, I didn't see him. Like, not involved in the game, ball going up, constantly coming back. He's not like. If you told me Chiesa was 6'5" or 6'4" and he doesn't really run around, but he gets up there and he wins fucking headers, you go, well, it's going up there and he's winning a few headers. It falls to him in the box and he scores brilliant. But overall, not much going on there. Now, look,
you're talking to Dylan too much with your
No. Listen, come here and I tell you, lads. Let's be honest about it. Last season we were playing and we weren't playing Chiesa and we were going, lads, he's not getting a fucking game. There must be reasons why he's getting a game. He scores there tonight. I've no problem with that.
But that's why I'm saying that if he's going to keep him, he has to play him. You can't expect him to come off the bench every 3 or 4 games for 10 minutes and set the world up.
But
it goes back to
give him 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah, I agree. But it goes back to last season. People felt Jota wasn't doing enough, or Darwin wasn't doing enough, or Gakpo could be a bit in and out. Diaz was quite good all season. Salah was Salah. But when we look at this summer and we're going, he's going to bring in players and they're better than the ones we have, and he's going to trust them more. How in anyone's mind has it jumped from zero trust and fucking an hour of football or something last season to now? But you have to bring him on. You have to play him. Forget that. I agree with your concept of if you keep him, you have to play him. But last season he had him and he didn't play him because he didn't trust him. And we're trying to get away from these players that he didn't trust. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but he's behind Mo Salah, who doesn't get taken off and all. You have to manage Salah. We have an AFCON coming up. I'd rather see Chiesa play than Frimpong on the right wing.
Maybe so. And maybe it is a case of Slots had a little bit of a rethink and went, look, tell you what we're going to do. We're going to have him there if Salah wants to come off or whatever. But I can fucking tell you now, I would bet with any is if they sign Alexander Isak in the next 2 weeks, right? Chiesa will absolutely struggle for any minutes in this team. 100%.
Yeah, but then they need to get rid of him and bring in I don't want to say a project, but something for the future. Because if he's not going to play, he's on 140, 150 grand a week. Like, what? Like, what's he doing? Cleaning the lads' boots? Like,
Look,
if he's not going
look,
to.
there's people in the chat saying, there's people in the chat here saying Gav hates Chiesa. I don't. I'm just saying, how
hates
have we?
all Italians, not just
No, I
Chiesa.
don't. I like Italians. I'm quarter Italian myself. I love them. Right, Sardinia, all that messing. But all I'm saying is that, look, we have Gakpo, Ekitike, Salah, right? Okay, you have them three. If you bring in Isak, that's four, right? Chiesa last season was probably fifth or sixth choice. I don't know how fifth or sixth choice this season gets more football than fifth or sixth choice last season when he had plenty of opportunity to use him and didn't.
Because of the players that have left.
We get the concept of him not playing last year, but like, is he keeping him because he's a body, or is he keeping him because he's going to use him? If he's keeping him because he's using him, he has to use him. But if he's only keeping him for the body, I'd prefer to get rid of him.
But I just think if you bring in another one, then
Jota, Nunez and Diaz. Okay. And you've Ekitike and you've Isak in there, right? So maybe he's gone up a rung in the ladder.
Counting your chickens there.
Right? Well, I think Isak signs for Liverpool. I've said it all along. But maybe he has gone up a rung in the ladder. But
somebody said it there. Oh, it's still on the thing. He's had a full pre-season. He came.
Yeah.
He came injured, did he not? Or they didn't think he was strong enough for Premier League.
Yeah.
I don't know. Has something changed?
I'd have more confidence in the concept of Chiesa at Liverpool if he was on the edge and he was coming on and doing great, and and it was like he's a real option here. And look, the way things have gone in the summer, he's gone from sixth choice to fifth choice, and we really think he can push on and take the minutes of whoever, and but he wasn't trusted at all. It doesn't.
Yeah,
I felt like it was done out. I felt like the sub was done out of necessity. I don't think he is I'm not knocking the fella for scoring. I'm just saying in the bigger picture of things. I think if we have another striker.
The only guy in the stadium not singing his song after.
No, come here and I tell you, I sang that song at the top of my voice while telling Bournemouth fans exactly what I thought of them for a prolonged period of time. But
I think so, Gav. I think the evidence from this season shows you so far that Arne Slot is going to trust them more. Mm-hmm. Because he's had one opportunity to use him in the Premier League, and he used him. And yeah, it might have been an emergency situation, but that's literally what he's there for. Now,
is he trusting him based on trust, or is he trusting him because he has to trust?
Necessity. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but let's say
doesn't matter. Necessity is the mother of invention. And if you put the guy on for 15 minutes and he scores, and then you put him on again and he scores.
No, but that's what I'm saying. That if you're keeping him, you better fucking use him.
Like, I think if you put Rio Engamoa on in that situation, you're putting too much pressure on a kid to go out there and be a saviour. I think Engamoa needs to be maybe drip fed in. If you're 3 or 4 goals up in a game, you say, right, there's a half an hour, you run at them and you just play and terrorise them, and that's how you feed him in. If you're 2-2 and it's 83 minutes and you're looking and you're like, right, what can we do here? This fella, he's after scoring in a cup final that we lost, in fairness. He scored, he came on, he scored. He's after scoring a winner there, because I know Mo got the fourth one, but he got the decisive goal there. So he's building up a bit of trust in the sense that he's come on and he's scored goals. I get it, he's not overly trusted. He's on 150 grand a week, top wage or whatever. But if you're going to replace him, and you're going to replace him with a project, you're back in the same position nearly as with Engamoa. Like, is your project a winger? Is he a striker? I know if you have Isak in the building, you've got your 2 centre forwards, and he does go further down the pecking order. But I just think he's a player that you can look at without having to buy another wild player, because I just think it's a lot. I thought, 8 new players would be grand, and then you're seeing that it takes a while for them to settle in. I think if we keep doing that, we could end up in a bit of a sticky wicket. So I'd rather keep him and bring in a striker. If we get Alexander Isak in the door, right, great. Use him as your 5th option or your 6th option, depending on what you want to do with Engamoa. But I think with Salah going off for the AFCON this year changes it. I don't think he got much opportunity.
Even with Isak in the door, option 5 and option 6 is either Engamoa or Chiesa.
Or Jaden Dance.
Yeah,
Nah.
Dan's.
I
Yeah,
think Chiesa stays specifically because the AFCON's in December this year. Chiesa stays for the AFCON. Mo comes back and you sell him in January.
Look, he gets a great goal, and the let off was unbelievable in the ground.
It was a great goal. A tough finish.
Yeah, no, I've been kind of arguing with people going, I think what we have if you're signing Isak is enough, and I'm starting to doubt my opinion. I'm not going to lie, and I don't die on Hill, so I'm allowed, turn around. I think there might be an argument to bring another one in after Isak. I genuinely do. I said because the jump in trust from there to there is just too big for me. Going on previous form from Slot with regards to Chiesa. I think Gakpo is young. I think he will 100% get minutes. But when I look at that team, I think to myself, Gakpo's out. I'm not saying Gakpo would start. You might do an Ekatike sort of thing. You might even do a Chiesa thing sort of thing there. But there might be an argument for a second one. But we're going bananas then in the transfer market.
He didn't rate Endo at all last season, and as the season went on, he started to use him, not from the start of games, but the close-out games, and he spoke lonely of Endo. And maybe we're seeing that sort of shift maybe in Chiesa, that he knows he's good. His fitness was the problem. He couldn't adapt to the physicality, which is grand. But if you're throwing him on as a super sub to try and get a game, if the ball drops in the box, I'd rather it drop to him than some kid that's not got the experience of doing it. But if you were given the choice of one more signing after Isak, and it's either a centre-back or another attacker, what are you taking? Because I'm taking a centre-back all day, every day. All day, every day.
Yeah, but we've signed a man Mountain from Italy.
I know. Absolute monster. Yeah, you don't like the Italians, so it's no good for him. Unlucky there, young man.
No.
Unlucky young fella.
I've no issue with the Italians. I've no issue with them. Henry Brothers.
He stopped at customs. He had a big Lukaku in his pocket.
Jesus Christ, he's a monster. But look,
he's so big, he's 5 quarters Italian.
5 quarters Italian.
Clip that up.
Yeah.
Before we go, want to talk about Salah because we have to. That's his 10th opening day goal. It might be. I don't think he does in a way or an opening day goal for Chelsea. I'm not too sure. He might do. I don't know.
I don't think so.
No, but it's 10 opening. He's the first player. It said the first player in Premier League history.
I think he scored a hat trick or something against Watford. Was it a hat trick he got against Watford?
No, he gets one against Watford.
One season he didn't score, but he got an assist, I think.
Yeah.
Only one season he didn't score, but he got a couple, didn't he?
Yeah. But look, it's 94 minutes on the clock and the ball just booted up the pitch and he runs after it and he scores. And Matt, I'll come to you like, people are saying, the age will get to him and this and that. 94 minutes, the fella's still going. And he'd have been forgiven, Matt, for just going, listen, I'm after winning this, I'm going in the corner. I'm going to try to win a free kick or a corner or just hold on to a throw or whatever. And he decides, no, fuck this. I don't care if there's 4 of them around me. I'm just going to turn and score. And it's just Mo Salah. People can say what they want about him. They keep writing him off because they will. Because he just gets, as he gets older, they keep writing him off. But he looks as trim and as strong and as quick as not as he ever has. But doesn't like he's looks. It doesn't look like he's dropped a yard over the summer, man.
No, I think for every 1% that he loses in pace as he gets a little bit older, he gains 2% in experience and knowledge and. That Kenny Dalglish, the first, 3 yards in your head sort of thing. His passing vision is just phenomenal. There was a thing that came out, Harvey Elliott, where Mo was mad at him last season because he had passed the ball into Elliott and Elliott scored and there was a bit of a VAR check and he didn't come over and he say thank you to Mo Salah. And it was one of those roundtables. It was Mo, Harvey, and Kelleher. And he's like, you didn't come over and say thank you. And Harvey's like, I didn't know it was you. And he's like, I'm the only one on the team that could have played that ball. And that's really kind of what it feels like. Like he's got this supreme confidence in himself. And yeah, you would expect if you didn't know that was Mo Salah, you would expect the thing to do is, take it to the corner flag like James Milner at the end of the Barcelona game. You win a series of free kicks and throw-ins, and that's the end of the game. But this guy has... I'm guessing there's a room in his house that has all of his stats and where he is on the individual charts on them. And he goes in there like once a week and just updates himself where he's like, okay, I need 13 goals to catch Wayne Rooney. That's my next target for the Premier
100%
League.
it is. 100%
Is
it
I'm
is.
really in, but he's looking at it like he's aware of all these things and he's actually driven by it, and it makes him that much more dangerous. So yeah, get in there, Mo, because he was my Premier League captain, or my fantasy Premier League captain, so needed that goal. It was huge.
He needs 26 goals to overtake Kane, says Real Talk. Is it that close? Well, yeah, because Shearer's on 260, isn't he? He's not getting to Shearer.
Yeah.
He's 100 and what's he on? 100 and what's he on?
I think he's 81. I think he's 81 behind Shearer.
Yeah, I don't think he's getting 81 in fairness. Before we go, Emma, have you watched any other football this weekend? Anyone impressed you or thought Jesus there?
Watched a little bit of Villa and Newcastle, fell asleep. Watched a little bit
Hold on, that might
of-
not be due to the football. That could be just you.
could be legit.
No. It was definitely the football. And then watched a little bit of United and Arsenal today. Thought United looked really good.
You picked some shit games to watch. Holy fuck.
Yeah. I thought United looked good, better than they did last year. Anyway, wasn't really impressed with Arsenal. Wasn't impressed with Gyökeres. I know it's only his first.
Arsenal to me looked.
I thought they looked a lot more dangerous when Havertz came on. He does
because Havertz dropped in.
Yeah. But he does a bit more.
I said this to an Arsenal fan. They should have bought a Sadio Mane rather than tried to buy a big burly centre forward.
They looked disjointed to me because he sat on the lit all day, and all right, the lit was he fought with the lit and he won a few bits, but Arsenal not having that extra player that drops in deep and becomes like a really really false nine, just didn't suit them because they couldn't outmaneuver the other team in midfield. United were very huff and puff, I thought. And then shit themselves when they got near the box. And Arsenal got their set piece thing, and people are saying, was it a goal? Isn't it? It's 100% a goal. Keeper's fucking built like a noodle, for fuck's sake. Keith, anything impressed you across the weekend?
No. Huachipato won 4-0 tonight, so that impressed me. Any fans of the Chilean Premier League, we're all big Huachipato ultras around here.
Yeah, we're huge fans of them.
I'm not into the Premier League. I tend not to watch it. I watch Liverpool, and that's not trying to be a hipster. I just watch Liverpool. I did see about 20 minutes of the United and Arsenal game today, and I thought, like, as Emmet said, United looked better. Arsenal looked shit. But other than that, I didn't see anything else.
The United players looked like they actually cared. Like, you looked at United last year and it was just like they weren't even bothering their arse. Like,
but start of a new season, you never know what can fucking happen.
But come here, they've had a horror starts to seasons the last few years. Didn't they get?
They've had another one today.
Brighton 4-0 by Brentford. But no, I thought they were better today. They actually looked like they played as a team today. I thought. And Bremo probably tried a little bit too hard. They seemed to get to the box and then it was Keystone Cops. It was balls bouncing all over the place. They just, but much like us, they need to get used to playing together as well. Yeah. But I think they won't be finishing 15th this year. Anyway,
the only thing about it was when Arsenal did happen to win a ball in midfield, deep in midfield. Jesus, poor Casemiro trying to run back and Bruno Fernandes not having a bar running back. I was like, fucking hell. Like, Jesus was like the part of the Red Sea down the middle of the pitch at times. Matt, you watched all the football.
I did.
Keith was watching the Chilean Premier League. And Emma fell asleep watching whatever he tried to watch. Who impressed you? Who didn't?
Impressive. Spurs going forward were quite dangerous. I mean, Richarlison's second goal is outrageous. It's so good. In the build-up, every single Spurs player touches the ball before it ends up in the back of the net by Richarlison. Really dangerous going forward. If they had Eze to that team, they could be a serious proposition. Sunderland obviously have to get a mention. That's huge for them. But I mean, that could just be the pop of, first game back in the Premier League at the Stadium of Lights in 10 years or whatever it is, sort of thing. But my biggest takeaway from the weekend is I think at least one, if not two, of the promoted teams are going to survive, because there looks like there's going to be some fucking garbage teams. West Ham, bad. Brentford bad. Like
Yeah.
Brentford is bad.
Brentford were
But
awful
they
today.
have-
I watched
they have Keith
all
Andrews
of
to
Brentford
steer the
today,
ship.
and they were fucking terrible. From
Bad.
start to finish, they
Like-
were terrible.
Yeah.
Like, literally didn't know what they were doing. Like, the amount of times the centre backs got it and just stood there going, what the fuck's going on here? No hold up play, no interplay. Just they were awful. Forest were very
And their
good.
kit was horrendous as well. Their kit was poxy looking.
Their kit was shy.
Oh, see, I kind of like their kit. I like that away kit.
Nah,
I
not a
don't
fan
mind
of
that. I like the Arsenal away kit too. That's pretty sharp. I wish I had known Brentford's coach's name when I was answering Emmet's preseason prediction questionnaire, because I think he's fucking pretty good odds on being first out the door. Like that's it's just. And
Keith
I
Andrews.
have Brentford down to get relegated. I just think it's too much turnover. You're losing your top 2 goal scorers, and those two, like if Wissa goes to Newcastle, which looks likely, those two guys, I think they both hit 20 goals last year.
Yeah.
That's a
I
lot of
look,
goals.
Feel sorry for Kelleher going there now.
and he hadn't got a chance for any of the goals. Like, he was left so fucking exposed. My thing is, they've signed Utara off Bournemouth. He's going to have to come in and be an absolute world beater for them, because your man Carvalho that was with us doesn't look interested in playing football anymore. Like, genuinely doesn't look interested. He gets the ball, does a flick, and then it's like, oh, whatever. Midfield wise, they're so fucking slow. Like, they wanted to come on and try pick up a tempo of a game today and get on top, and Jordan Henderson comes on the pitch and doesn't move out a radius of 20 yards. He just stays where he is and doesn't. And he's 33 or 4 now. Well, he's probably a bit more than that, actually, Jordan Henderson. And it was just like,
36.
it was just so slow. And, you know, your man Sade, is that his name? He came on.
Smooth operator.
He tried to do a bit. But yeah, they looked very, very poor. Now listen, it's the open day of the season. Everyone will say they're going to improve, but yeah, they were shocking, to be fair. Right, we're gonna go. Emma, anything else before we go?
No, I put in the goal stats there. He's 21 behind Rooney, 26 behind Kane, and 73 behind Shearer.
Okay, I think you'll be 2 of them.
3, that's doable.
I think he gets the second.
Yeah, I think he gets second as well. Matt, anything else before we go?
Yeah, should be good.
Okay, good stuff. Keith, anything else before we go?
No, all good.
Nice. Right. That's been it. That's been the Sunday night show. Go and check out our Patreon if you would like to. The QR code is on screen, or you can get it in the description, and you can check out there for a month. Try it for a month if you like it. Great. If you don't, just stop the payment after a month. It's no problem. We're off to, I know myself and Matt are off now in a little bit to record some reaction extra with highlights on our Patreon, and we're doing a ref watch one tomorrow, which should be fun, considering the opening day of the season has had loads of stuff going on. So we're going to be doing that. And yeah, like, subscribe, comment. 3 people didn't like us tonight. I don't know who those 3 people are. Anybody? Any suggestions? Shearer, probably one of them.
Shearer.
One of those was Johnny, because he didn't actually end up getting in to see Oasis, so he's standing outside Croke Park watching the show.
Could be.
I
One,
watch it.
3 people didn't like us tonight. One is Shawnee Lawson. One is Alan Shearer. And we don't know who the third person is. We really don't.
Some Spanish person.
Why?
Yeah.
So I thought the sign was in Spanish, didn't I?
Oh, yeah.
The English sign was in Spanish.
Oh, 4 people don't like us now. They're
Why
acting the
would,
mag now.
why
They're all
would
just
you
not.
have guessed Portuguese, Emmet?
Yeah, I don't know. I was drunk.
He was on course at the time.
Yeah, he was only on the course.
Right, that has been it. Thanks for being to Keith, to Emmet, and Matt. Thanks for being to Ollie in the chat. Talk to you in a bit. Over and out.